it's Ina the Mood Reader, and today we're going to continue on with my September 2020 reading wrap-up. So in my last video, I talked about all the audiobooks that I have read last September. I recommended them to you guys in another video, and today we're going to continue on with the other books that I have read in the month. And I have my laptop here with me to guide me. I just organized my reading tracker so that I'm sure that I won't miss any title, and I can talk to you about all the books that I have read. So the first book that I have read for September is We Are Not Free by Tracy Chee. It is a historical young adult fiction book. I read this as a part of the blog tour hosted by Colored Pages Book Tours, and it was my first read of the month, and I just have to say that this book is amazing. It's really a must read. For me personally, the Philippines played like a role in the World War II situation, and we were colonized by Japan, and I didn't know that there was like this other side to the story for Japanese in general, especially those Japanese American people who were already like living there before the war happened. And this book was a great eye-opener on like the other side of the story, and like the bits and pieces in history that you don't really pay attention to, or of course the bits of history that we don't get to know like from school. And this book, We Are Not Free, was told in so many point of views. I think there were 14, if I'm not mistaken, point of views that you'll get to know at the start of when you read this book. And it might be confusing at times, but it was like it was written very beautifully. My heart was hurt at many times throughout this book, and I just recommend it to everyone. This is like one of the best reads I have for the month of September. And then the next book that I have read is The Year Shakespeare Ruined My Life by Danny Jansen. I also read this as a part of a blog tour. For this one, I worked with TBR and Beyond Tours. This one is a lighter young adult contemporary book which revolved around staging a play. This one particularly a Shakespeare play, and I am a self-confessed theater geek, though not much of course, but I do love musicals and some plays, and this one is like the perfect read for all those theater fans out there. And this also has the sapphic romance, very light and very cute. It's just like still getting to know your own sexuality, because the leads of this story are quite young, so it's very fluffy and cute, and at the same time it deals with like self-love and self-discovery. It's a good light read, perfect for those who crave something fluffy. And then I'm skipping the audiobooks that I have read. So the next book I've read is from my TBR. So I actually was able to stick to most of my TBR last month, and this one is an arc I got from NetGalley. It's What Matters More by Lyora Blake. It's a contemporary romance. It's about this U.S. Marshal and an artist. It started just like as a one-night stand. Our hero is recently divorced, and then our heroine just got off a breakup, and both of them are struggling in terms of their finances, in terms of their life, because again the guy was dealing with like a divorce and some settlements, some payments, mortgages and all of that, and then the girl just got kicked out of her home, so she is going to like homesit a house for art professors, if I'm not mistaken, and their so-called one-night stand became something else when the house that she will house set is in front or beside the house of this hero who was unfortunately living with his parents at that time, because again he lost everything. And so there's this little push and pull on whether they would commit to each other or if this will be just a fling, and also with their hopes and dreams and all of that. So it's a nice and very steamy romance. I missed reading contemporary romances like this. It used to be like everything I read I remember in like 2013 or 2014. So it's nice to get back to that genre, I guess. So yeah, I gave that book 4 stars. The next book I read is Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. I won't talk about that anymore in this video. I just have to say that I loved it as much as like I loved everything that Colleen Hoover writes. She is like the perfect auto-buy author for me, and I filmed a video just focusing on Heartbones and all that, and I'll link it down on the description so you can also watch it if you want to. So yeah, the next book I've read is My Summer of Love and Misfortune. This is another arc that I received from NetGalley, and this is like my first 1-star book in a while. I never really like giving out 1-star ratings for books, but this just like drained my brain in a way. I was really expecting so much from this book because it was pitched very similarly to Love Boat Taipei, which is like one of the first books I read for the year and I loved totally to bits. I also want to support Asian authors as much as I can, but this book is just so infuriating. It's frustrating. The lead character is so annoying. That basically, the way this book is written is very juvenile. It's very immature, and I don't know. Like, I go into books, especially with this title, I was expecting adventure, but all I get is like one whiny spoiled brat who's like, I don't know. And in her mind, she was expecting things to be given to her. Like, she doesn't even exert effort for things. I don't know. I just hated it a lot. And I remember, again, Shalea telling me that this book is perfect for when you're in the mood for hate reading. I actually hate read this book, and I agree that this book deserves all that ratings that it got because it's very frustrating. It's really, I don't recommend this for anyone. If you are looking into supporting Asian authored books, there are so many other great ones out there. And again, if you have read the blurb of this one and it sounds interesting to you, I recommend picking up Love Boat Taipei instead of this one. The next books that I read for the month are all read as a part of the Walang Tulugan Readathon, or No Sleep Readathon in English. For September, their like theme was Filipino written romances, and I always love shouting about romance class in like all of my videos. I hope you don't like get tired of me saying this, but romance class is like the bomb.com. I really love romance class, and I took the opportunity to read some of the romance class titles sitting on my shelf for a while now, especially the short ones, so that I can like read a lot of titles for this readathon. So most of these books are like very short, but they're all like really good. So like the first one is One Day Closer by Laila S. Tanhutko. Laila S. Tanhutko, and I don't think this is a romance class book. I'm not sure. I'll check, but I'll write it here. I just got it from my Kindle Unlimited. It's a poetry, it's a love story written in verse, so it's a very quick read. I didn't like it a lot. I find some things very like poorly written, but it's a good one still, I guess. Some lines were good, some weren't. So in total, it was just okay for me, so I rated it 3 stars. The next one I read is Plain Vanilla by Ines Bautista Yao, and I love Ines Bautista back when she was still just Ines Bautista. I remember she was an editor-in-chief of, I'm not sure if K-Zone if it was K-Zone or Total Girl from Summit Media, and my brother and I used to collect like K-Zone magazines, and I always get excited reading everything from cover to cover, even the names of the staff, like the editorial staff and the editor's notes. So I remember her name a lot because of that one. I also read some of her first books before, and like when Summit had like an arm for books, so I picked actually 2 of her books for the readathon. The first one is Plain Vanilla, and the other one is Only a Kiss. So these 2 books were just short ones. Plain Vanilla is about a girl in a family of like eccentric, quirky creatives, like type A personality, famous people, like successful people, imagery in their family, and she's just like the most basic one. So she sees herself as someone plain and simple. She doesn't see herself that way, and there's somebody she encounters that like changes her mind. So it's just a really short like story. So really it just gave a message of self-love, self-confidence, and there's always someone who will appreciate you for all that you are, like flaws and all. And of course, if you like put ice cream flavors into people, like if you define yourself as an ice cream flavor, there's always gonna be someone who would love Plain Vanilla. So that's that book. And then the other one is Only a Kiss. This one is a best friend turned lovers romance, which is like one of my favorite romance tropes. The story was told like in a span of a few years, and basically that's that. And like best friend turned lovers romances are somewhat like cliche for everyone, but I always love them, especially the pining whenever they're with somebody else. I know that's wrong, but I loved it. I loved everything about that. So yeah, both of those books I gave 5 stars. And then the next one is What Kind of Day by Nina V. Esguerra, like the founder of Romance Class. And this book is in the 632 Central series, if I'm not mistaken. And this one tells the story of Ben and Naya. And this one is like the guy is the speechwriter for this politician, and the girl Naya hosts like a tour on Manila, like I don't know how you call this, like, but the places that people do not get to explore when you think about visiting top tourism spots of Manila, I guess. And Ben like joined a tour spontaneously, and they meet, and sparks ignite and all of that. So this book revolves around their romance. So this book explores themes like loving what you do, finding your purpose, your passion in life, what direction you want your life to be, taking risks and taking chances on what you see would be the best path for you to take. So yeah, I loved it, and I want to read again the second and third book of the series, hopefully this year. I don't know, there's so many good books, it's so hard to choose what title you would read next. The other 2 books that I read are both written by Chiyo Rodriguez. I have read like No Two Ways last weekathon, and this time I grabbed the Bye Bye Bouquet and Love and Other Questionable Life Choices. So the Bye Bye Bouquet, it's a very short story wherein there's this girl that owns a flower shop, and then there's this guy, if I'm not mistaken, Philip, who buys a set of flowers from their shop that are all sorry flowers, like sorry we're not good for each other, break up type of flowers. And it's a guy that sends like a couple to, I don't know the exact number like maybe 10 to 15, 10 or 5 bouquets a month to different girls. So basically a womanizer in the eyes of our heroine. And this book revolves around like finding out who Philip is, and like slightly spoilery I guess, but like what happens when Philip is somebody that our heroine turns out liking, and whether she would like risk her heart for someone who with that kind of reputation. So yeah. And then Love and Other Questionable Life Choices is like a compilation of short stories. I think there's 3 stories here, and different standing on love. It's very short. It was lacking for me, but yeah, these are just like very simple one shots that to like deliver a sweet message at the end. And then lastly, the last book that I have read for September is Under the Scrubs by Katerina Baker. It's another book from NetGalley. I know I promised 5 NetGalley reads. I was just able to do 3, but that's okay. I don't want to pressure myself and like be hard on myself just because I wasn't able to accomplish a goal. We'll try to do it this November, and this October, and this December. So yeah. Under the Scrubs is about this doctor and this FBI guy. I really hated the book. I rated it 2 stars. That I might reduce that to 1 star on the day that I write my actual review. I'm still thinking about it right now, so we're not sure yet. But yeah. Basically, there's like this abduction thing happening, and there's this questionable life choices, just like the title of Chidi Rodriguez's book. So yeah, I really disliked a lot of the parts of this book. I think it was very poorly written, so I don't recommend it. At the end of it all, I was able to read 18 books. I talked to you guys about 12 books, and then the other 6 books I explained in a different video. So now we're going to discuss shortly the reading statistics I have for last September 2020. I know this is quite late, so I'm a little lost at the month that I'm talking about, but yeah. For September, I was able to read 18 books, and I have my little 2020 planner turned commonplace notebook to talk to you about my stats. So yeah, for September, I was able to read 3,968 pages, which I know is a little lower compared to last month's performance. I may have read 18 books, but some of them are fairly short, but I think 3,968 is still a good number for this month. And then, in terms of format, I was able to read again 6 audiobooks and 6 ebooks. I had like a physical book on my September TBR, which is Haruki Murakami's Kafka on the Shore. Unfortunately, right now I'm still at the 10% part of the book. I don't know if it's because of the mass market paperback format, or I'm not really into literary fiction because I can't move on. I can't move forward with the book. It's a very hard read for me, but I'll update you guys on whether I'll be able to continue that one in the future. And then for like the age groups, I was able to read 7 adult books and then 11 young adult books. For the star ratings, I gave 1 book 1 star, another book 2 stars, but it might go down, I'm not sure yet. I gave 5 books 3 stars, 6 books 4 stars, and 5 books 5 stars, which I think is a fairly diverse pile of reads, so it wasn't like a shining reading month, but that's okay, it happens. In terms of like the year published, I read 7 2020 published titles, and I was able to read 11 backlist titles, even books like published as early as 2013. And then, in terms of author ethnicity, I'm just like doing this because I want to diversify my shelf, which is something I'm trying to do better on, but no pressure. Again, I was just like give equal opportunity to different authors, but I want to like read more Asian author books. So for this month, I was able to read 9 Asian books, which is 50% of the total, which is good. And then 6 white authored books, 2 books by black authors, and 1 book by a Latinx author. And out of the 9 Asian books, 6 of those were written by Filipinos, which again is a good performance already for me. And out of all those authors, 10 of them were new to me, and 8 of those were authors that I already knew. So those are the stats that I'm interested in keeping track on and sharing to you guys. I still have a few other things I track here on my spreadsheet, but yeah, these are the things I prepared for you guys. So basically, that's it. That's my September 2020 reading month, and looking back on it, I was surprised that I almost read like fully romance books, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, all of the books are like centered on romance, or at least mainly controlled by romance. I didn't mean for it to happen, it just did. And as you know, it's always my go-to genre. It's my home, so yeah. Among these titles that I have shared to you guys, what interests you, and based on these, like my tastes, what do you recommend for me to read next? I hope I can hear your suggestions and your thoughts. Please share them down in the comments, or talk to me on my social media accounts that are linked in the description down below. See you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!